3 months after the Battle of Valora Prime, the news reached every corner of the galactic community. Humans, the quarantined Deathworlders from Earth, had defeated the Kragathi Empire. They saved an entire species from extinction. The galaxy did not know how to process this information. The Council of Civilized Worlds called an emergency session. Representatives from 200 species gathered in the massive council chamber on the neutral world of Sanctum. The topic was simple but terrifying: what to do about humanity. Captain Nari stood outside the council chamber wearing her new uniform. She was promoted after the battle and given command of the Indomitable II, built to honor the ship that sacrificed itself. Next to her stood Ambassador Doyen, a calm man with white hair who had spent decades preparing for this moment. He was Earth's first official ambassador to the galactic community. "Are you nervous?" Nari asked him. Terrified, Doyen admitted with a slight smile. "But humans have faced worse than a room full of politicians." "How hard can it be?" A Sanctum official opened the chamber doors. "The council will see you now." The chamber was enormous, with seats arranged in circles rising up like an amphitheater. Each species had their own environmental controls, allowing them to exist in comfort. The Valorians sat in one section, their crystalline bodies reflecting light in beautiful patterns. Ambassador Thelix was among them, his colors showing determination. At the center of the chamber was a platform where speakers could address the entire council. Doyen and Nari walked to it, aware that hundreds of alien eyes watched their every movement. Some species had never seen a human before. Others knew of humans only through rumors and reports. The council speaker, a tall being with flowing robes and multiple arms, addressed them. "Ambassador Doyen of Earth, Captain Nari of the human fleet, you stand before the Council of Civilized Worlds. We are here to discuss humanity's place in the galaxy." "We appreciate the opportunity to speak," Doyen said, his voice calm and clear. "Humanity is ready to join the galactic community as peaceful partners." An immediate uproar filled the chamber. Multiple species tried to speak at once. The speaker raised all four arms for silence. "The Senthian Concordat wishes to speak," the speaker announced. A reptilian being stood from one of the upper sections. The Senthians were one of the most powerful species in the galaxy, merchants and politicians with influence everywhere. "The Senthian Concordat opposes human membership," the Senthian ambassador declared. "Earth is a Category 9 prohibited world. Humans are Deathworlders, evolved in conditions that make them fundamentally incompatible with civilized society." The Senthian activated a holographic display. Images appeared above the platform showing human combat operations at Valora Prime, Marines fighting in close quarters, ships performing maneuvers that would kill most species, boarding actions in vacuum. The footage was brutal and efficient. "Look at how they fight," the Senthian continued. "They ignore all conventions of civilized warfare. They use deception, ambush, psychological warfare. They board enemy ships in conditions that should be fatal, and most disturbing, they seem to enjoy combat." The hologram showed Sergeant Yuna fighting multiple Kragathi warriors while laughing. Several council members gasped or made sounds of distress. "These are not civilized beings," the Senthian concluded. "These are predators. Dangerous predators who will destabilize everything we have built." Other species voiced agreement. The Minari, peaceful plant-based creatures, expressed fear that humans would treat them as the primitive species they consumed on Earth. The Helixians, who evolved in low gravity, were horrified by humans' ability to function in crushing gravitational fields. Doyen waited for the voices to quiet before responding. "May I address these concerns?" The speaker gestured permission. "It is true that humans evolved on a harsh world," Doyen began. "Earth has strong gravity, dangerous weather, and yes, predators and prey. But this does not make us monsters. It makes us survivors." He activated his own holographic display. Images appeared of human history. Not battles, but achievements. Cities built in harsh environments, space stations constructed over centuries, medical advances that saved billions. Humans learned to cooperate because our world was too dangerous to face alone, Doyen explained. "We developed technology to protect ourselves from our own planet. We created societies built on the principle that working together is better than fighting each other. Are we good at combat? Yes, we had to be to survive. But that is not all we are." He changed the hologram to show humans working alongside Valorians in the reconstruction. Human engineers teaching alien technology, human doctors treating alien patients, children of both species playing together. We fought at Valora Prime because peaceful beings called for help, Doyen continued. We could have ignored the call. We could have demanded payment. We could have conquered the Valorians ourselves once the Kragathi were defeated. But we did none of those things. We helped because it was right. Ambassador Thelix stood from the Valorian section. I request permission to speak. The council recognizes Ambassador Thelix, the speaker said. Thelix descended to the platform, his crystalline form glowing with emotion. I was terrified when I learned that humans answered our distress call. Terrified because they are Deathworlders. Terrified because we knew nothing about them except that the galactic community deemed them too dangerous for contact. He gestured to the memorial images that appeared in the hologram. But these Deathworlders saved my species. They asked for nothing. They fought against impossible odds. Some gave their lives to protect Valorians they had never met. Thelix's color shifted to show deep respect. Yes, humans are dangerous, but they are dangerous to those who threaten innocence. They are dangerous to bullies and conquerors. They are dangerous to evil. But to friends, to those who need help, they are the greatest allies the galaxy could ask for. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Several species looked thoughtful, but the Senthian was not finished. Ambassador Thelix speaks from gratitude, the Senthian said, which is understandable. But emotion should not guide policy. Humans have proven they are incredibly effective warriors. What happens when those warriors decide they want to be conquerors instead of protectors? Before Doyen could respond, a new alert flashed through the chamber. The Council's defense monitors detected a massive fleet entering the Sanctum system. The Kragathi Empire, humiliated by their defeat at Valora Prime, had sent a revenge fleet. But not toward Valora Prime, toward Earth itself. The holographic display showed the enemy force. 300 warships, the largest mobile fleet in recorded galactic history. Every council member went silent as they watched the tactical data stream in. This is impossible, one council member said. No species could gather such a force so quickly after a major defeat. The Kragathi sent a transmission that played in the council chamber. It was Warlord Krathix's successor, a massive warrior named Krathax. People of the galactic community, Krathax's voice rumbled. You debate whether humans are dangerous. We will show you. The Kragathi Empire is moving to destroy Earth, to eliminate the human threat forever. Watch as we burn their precious death world to ash. Then you will see what happens to species who defy us. Panic erupted in the council chamber. Earth was weeks away, even at maximum speed. By the time anyone could respond, the battle would be over. The humans would face 300 warships with whatever home defenses they had. Captain Nari stepped forward, her face calm despite the dire news. Council members, I request permission to return to my ship and defend my homeworld. You have one ship, the Senthian pointed out. Against 300. What can you possibly do? I can get there, Nari said simply. And I can fight. That's what humans do. Ambassador Doyen placed a hand on her shoulder. Captain, wait. We can use the Council's defense network to monitor the battle. If the Council is concerned about human military capability, let them see it firsthand. The speaker considered this. Very well. We will observe the battle in real time. Perhaps it will help us make an informed decision about humanity's place in the galaxy. The holographic display expanded to show the Sol system. Earth sat at its center, a blue-green world that looked peaceful from space. Around it moved various ships and stations that made up humanity's home defenses. Their defenses look minimal, one council member observed. Perhaps 20 ships? They will be massacred. But as the Kragathi fleet approached, more signatures appeared on the display. The 20 visible ships were joined by 50 more that had been hiding in the asteroid belt. Then 100 more that launched from the moon. Where are all these ships coming from? Someone asked. Doyen explained calmly. Humans have been preparing for hostile first contact for centuries. Every colony ship is built to convert into a warship. Every mining station has weapons. Every civilian knows basic combat. We hoped we would never need these preparations, but we are not foolish enough to be unprepared. The Kragathi fleet entered weapons range and opened fire. The Council watched as 300 warships launched missiles and energy weapons at Earth's defenses. And then the real battle began. Earth's orbital platforms, built to defend against asteroid impacts, revealed themselves. Dozens of massive weapon stations that could shoot objects moving at relativistic speeds. The battle for Valora Prime had turned into a nightmare for Warlord Krathix. Half his fleet was destroyed or captured. His ground forces were scattered and demoralized. The hostages he counted on were rescued through methods he still could not believe any species would attempt. But Krathix was not finished. He still had one weapon left. Activate the orbital defense platforms, he ordered his remaining officers. Turn them around and target the Valorian cities. His second-in-command looked shocked. Warlord, those platforms were designed to defend against invasion. If we turn them on the cities below, we will kill millions. Hundreds of millions. Exactly, Krathix said coldly. If I cannot have this world, nobody will. The humans came to save these weak crystal creatures. Let them watch as I burn every city to ash. Then they will know the price of opposing the Kragathi Empire. The orbital platforms began to rotate, their massive weapons turning toward the planet. Each platform could level a city with a single shot. There were 15 platforms in total. Enough firepower to sterilize the entire planet. On the Indomitable Bridge, alarms screamed as sensors detected the platforms powering up. Lieutenant Hana worked frantically at her console. Captain, the Kragathi are targeting the surface. If those platforms fire, we're looking at extinction-level destruction. Captain Minho studied the tactical display. The platforms were heavily shielded and armored. Destroying them all before they could fire would be nearly impossible. But there was another option. A terrible option. How long until they can fire? Minho asked. 4 minutes, Hana replied. Maybe 5 if we're lucky. Minho turned to Chief Engineer Taiyang. If we ram the command platform at full speed, will the explosion take out the others? Taiyang's face went pale as he understood what Minho was suggesting. The command platform controls all 15 platforms. If we destroy it, the others will shut down automatically. But sir, ramming at the speed needed to guarantee destruction would require 17% light speed. The impact would destroy us completely. That's what I thought, Minho said quietly. He opened ship-wide communications. All crew, this is the captain. We have 4 minutes before the Kragathi destroy every city on Valora Prime. I'm ordering an evacuation. Get to the escape pods immediately. That's an order. Commander Nari stepped forward. Captain, you can't mean to ram that platform yourself. Someone has to pilot the ship, Minho said. Someone has to make sure the trajectory holds. I'm the captain. This is my responsibility. Then I'm staying too, Nari said firmly. You'll need help managing the systems during the acceleration. Engineer Taeyang spoke up. The engines will need manual overrides to push this hard. I'm staying. Lieutenant Hana looked at her console, then at her captain. Navigation requires constant adjustment at that speed. I'm staying. Minho looked at his bridge crew. You all have families. People waiting for you. You don't have to do this. Hana smiled sadly. 800 million Valorians have families too. People waiting for them. We didn't come all this way just to let them die now. Minho felt pride and grief mixed together. Then let's make it count. All other crew evacuate now. Bridge crew prepare for maximum acceleration. Throughout the Indomitable, crew members rushed to escape pods. They knew what was happening. Many wept as they fled, saying goodbye to friends who chose to stay. The escape pods launched toward nearby human ships, carrying away everyone except the bridge crew. Combat medic Jiho, still on the planet's surface, heard what was happening. He looked up at the sky where the Indomitable was preparing its final run. His team stood around him, Valorian civilians nearby in their temporary shelter. Those crazy heroes, Jiho said softly. They're really doing it. On the bridge, Engineer Taeyang pushed the engines beyond their safety limits. The Indomitable began to accelerate faster and faster. The artificial gravity struggled to compensate. Warning lights flashed across every console. Speed at 6% light speed. Hana called out. 8%. 10%. Warlord Krathix saw the human ship accelerating toward the command platform. He laughed. Fools. They think one ship can destroy our platform before we fire. They will crash against our shields and die for nothing. But the Indomitable kept accelerating, faster than any Kragathi ship could manage, faster than most species could even survive. 13%, Hana said, her voice strained. 15%. The bridge crew felt the pressure even through their restraints. Blood vessels burst in their eyes. Bones creaked under the stress. But they held on. Taeyang worked frantically at his console, overriding safety system after safety system. Come on, girl, he muttered to the ship. Just a little more. I know you can do it. 17% light speed achieved, Hana announced. Impact in 30 seconds. Captain Minho activated communications to the rest of the fleet. All ships continue the rescue operations. Help the Valorians rebuild. Tell Earth we did our job. Then he switched to a different channel, one that broadcast to Valora Prime below. Ambassador Thelix, this is Captain Minho. We're going to stop those platforms. Your people are safe now. Live well. On the planet, Thelix watched through sensors as the Indomitable became a streak of light racing toward the orbital platform. His crystalline body showed colors of grief and gratitude mixed together. Around him, millions of Valorians watched the same sight, understanding that these strange Deathworlders were about to die for them. Why? One Valorian asked. Why would they sacrifice themselves for us? We are not their species. We offer them nothing. Why? Thelix did not have an answer that made sense by Valorian logic, but perhaps it made sense by human logic. On the Kragathi command platform, Warlord Krathix finally understood what was happening. The human ship was not trying to destroy them with weapons. It was turning itself into a missile. And at 17% light speed, nothing could stop it. Fire the platforms, he screamed. Fire everything now. But it was too late. The Indomitable struck the command platform. The collision released energy equivalent to a small sun. The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. The command platform vaporized instantly. The shockwave tore apart 6 other orbital platforms. The remaining platforms shut down as their control systems died. The bridge, crew of the Indomitable had exactly 1 second to feel satisfaction before the universe turned white and they ceased to exist. On the planet's surface, every Valorian stopped and looked up at the sky. The massive explosion bloomed like a terrible flower. Jiho and his Marines stood at attention, saluting the place where their captain and crew had died. Across the human fleet, ships went silent for 60 seconds, a moment of respect for the fallen. Then Commander of the Second Fleet, Captain Suna, took charge. All ships, this is Suna. The captain gave his life to save this world. We will not let that sacrifice be wasted. Continue the mission. Clear out the remaining Kragathi. Secure Valora Prime. The battle continued for 6 more hours. The Kragathi, shocked by the loss of their command and orbital platforms, fought with less coordination. Many surrendered. Some tried to flee and were destroyed. Warlord Krathix died when his flagship was boarded by Marines who showed no mercy for the alien who tried to commit genocide. When the battle finally ended, Valora Prime was free. The Kragathi invasion was over. The cost was heavy. The Indomitable was gone. Captain Minho, Commander Nari, Lieutenant Hana, and Engineer Taeyang were dead. Dozens of other humans died in the fighting, but 800 million Valorians were alive because of them. Ambassador Thelix stood at the site chosen for a memorial. Human and Valorian workers built it together over the next weeks. A tall crystal spire with names carved in metal at its base. The names of every human who died defending Valora Prime. At the dedication ceremony, Thelix spoke to a crowd of millions. His voice was broadcast to every shelter, every city, every Valorian who survived. We called for help in our darkest hour, he said. We had no right to expect anyone would answer. But the humans came. They came knowing we were strangers. They came knowing they might die. They came because it was the right thing to do. He gestured to the memorial. These humans could have stayed safe in their own space. They could have ignored our distress call. They could have demanded payment we could not afford. Instead, they gave us everything. Some gave their very lives. Thelix's crystalline body glowed with colors of sorrow and gratitude. We will never forget what they did. We will teach our children about the day the Deathworlders came, not as monsters but as heroes, as friends, as family. Throughout the galaxy, news spread about what happened at Valora Prime. The Kragathi Empire, humiliated by their defeat, began to fracture as subject species saw that the conquerors could be beaten. Other threatened worlds looked toward human space with new hope. And on Earth, Captain Minho's family received a message from Ambassador Thelix. In it, the Valorian explained what their son had done, how he saved hundreds of millions of lives, how he proved that even species from harsh death worlds could choose compassion over cruelty. The message ended with a promise. The Valorians would remember forever. They would be humanity's friends for all time, because when the universe seemed darkest, humans brought light. The main Kragathi fleet hung in orbit above Valora Prime like a hammer waiting to fall. 40 warships commanded by Warlord Krathix, the butcher of 6 conquered worlds. He watched the human fleet approach on his tactical display with amusement. These humans destroyed 1 patrol squadron, Krathix told his officers, probably through luck or surprise. Now they face a real military force. We will crush them, and then finish destroying the Valorian cities below. Their crystals will make fine decorations for my throne room. His second-in-command hesitated. Warlord, perhaps we should study these humans more carefully. Their tactics are unusual. They fight in ways we have not encountered. Krathix struck his officer hard enough to draw blood. You question my judgment? We are Kragathi. We have conquered 17 species. These humans are just another primitive race that needs to learn their place. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Minho studied the enemy formation. Lieutenant Hana had compiled detailed analysis of Kragathi combat doctrine from the captured flagship's computers. They fight in standard formation, Hana explained. Heavy ships at the center, lighter vessels on the flanks. They advance slowly, using their shields to absorb damage while pounding the enemy with sustained fire. It's effective against species that follow galactic community warfare rules. But we don't follow those rules, Commander Nari said with a slight smile. No, Minho agreed. We fight like humans. Hana, transmit the attack plan to all ships. Let's show these Kragathi what they're dealing with. The human fleet did something that Kragathi had never seen before. Instead of advancing to meet them in organized battle, the human ships scattered in seemingly random directions. Some accelerated straight at the Kragathi formation. Others angled up or down using three-dimensional space in ways that violated standard tactical doctrine. What are they doing? Krathix demanded. Are they retreating? Running in panic? Then the humans opened fire, and Krathix understood they were not running. They were hunting. The human ships that accelerated straight forward were not on suicide runs. They were bait, drawing Kragathi fire while maneuvering at speeds that made them nearly impossible to hit. The ships that went up and down were flanking around, coming at the Kragathi formation from angles their weapons could not easily cover. Human tactics made no sense by galactic community standards. They pretended to surrender, then attacked when the Kragathi lowered their guard. They used debris fields as cover, hiding behind the wreckage of destroyed ships. They hacked into Kragathi communications and filled them with false orders, causing confusion. But the worst violation came when the humans started targeting life support systems instead of weapons or engines. They shot holes in Kragathi ships and left the crews struggling to breathe. Several Kragathi vessels surrendered just to get emergency atmosphere. This is barbaric, Krathix roared. They fight without honor. They use tricks and deception. His tactical officer looked at him with fear. Warlord, we have lost 12 ships already. The humans are not winning through superior firepower. They are winning because they refuse to fight the way we expect. Krathix made a decision. Deploy ground forces to the surface. Take Valorian hostages. When the humans see we are willing to kill millions of civilians, they will have to negotiate. 10,000 Kragathi warriors descended to Valora Prime in heavy assault transports. They established positions around the largest Valorian city, where 8 million civilians hid in underground shelters. Krathix sent a message to Captain Minho. Human Commander, this is Warlord Krathix. My ground forces now hold 8 million Valorians at gunpoint. You have 1 hour to withdraw your fleet or we will execute them all. Then we will destroy every shelter on this planet. Choose wisely. The message played on the bridge of the Indomitable. Commander Nari looked sick. Lieutenant Hana's hands clenched into fists.
Chief Engineer Taeyang swore quietly. Captain Minho watched the message twice.
When it finished, he turned to his crew. Get me combat medic Jiho. Tell him to prep his team for immediate deployment. Sir? Hana asked. What are your orders? We're going to get those people out, Minho said simply. And we're going to teach the Kragathi that threatening civilians is a very bad idea. Combat medic Jiho stood in the drop bay with his team of 40 Marines. He was not particularly large, but he had eyes that had seen too much death and refused to accept more. He checked his medical supplies alongside his weapons. The mission is a rescue, he told his team. 8 million Valorians in underground shelters. 10,000 Kragathi soldiers between us and them. We extract the civilians and get them to safety. Sir, how are we supposed to get past 10,000 enemy troops with 40 people? A young Marine asked. Jiho smiled. We're going to use an entrance the Kragathi won't be guarding. According to the city plans, there's a sewage system that connects to the shelter network. The Marines looked at each other. The sewage systems of an alien planet would be filled with biological waste and probably toxic to humans. Most species would consider it a death trap. Seal your armor tight, Jiho ordered. We're going in. The drop pods hit the planet's surface 10 kilometers from the city. The Marines moved fast, using the rocky terrain for cover. Kragathi patrols never spotted them. Why would anyone approach from the wasteland when there were roads? They found the sewage outlet exactly where the city plans indicated. It was filled with liquid waste that would kill most species on contact. The Marines activated their armor's environmental seals and entered without hesitation. "This is disgusting," one Marine muttered over the comm. "Yeah," Jiho agreed. "But the Kragathi would never think anyone would be crazy enough to come through here. That's why it's going to work." They moved through the sewage tunnels for 2 hours, following the maps on their helmet displays. The Valorians had built these systems centuries ago, and never imagined anyone would use them for infiltration. The Marines reached the shelter network and cut through the maintenance hatches. They emerged into a large underground chamber filled with terrified Valorians. The aliens recoiled from the humans, their crystalline bodies flickering with fear. Jiho removed his helmet and smiled, trying to look friendly. "We're here to rescue you. I know we look scary, but we're the good guys. I promise," a Valorian elder stepped forward. "There are 10,000 Kragathi soldiers above us. How can 40 humans fight so many? We're not going to fight them," Jiho explained. "We're going to sneak you out the same way we came in, through the sewage system." The Valorians looked horrified. "That system is toxic to our biology. We would die within minutes." Jiho opened his medical pack. "Not if you're wearing these." He held up sealed environmental suits, thin but effective. "They'll keep you safe. It won't be comfortable, but you'll be alive." For 3 hours, the Marines worked to evacuate 3,000 Valorians through the sewage tunnels. It was slow and difficult. The Valorians were not built for this kind of movement. Many panicked in the confined spaces, but the Marines were patient, helping each alien through the darkness. Above ground, the Kragathi soldiers waited for Captain Minho's response to their ultimatum. They had no idea that thousands of their hostages were already gone. When the evacuation was complete, Jiho sent a message to the Indomitable. "Captain, we have 3,000 civilians safe. Moving to the next shelter." "Good work," Minho replied. "The Kragathi are about to figure out what we did. Things are going to get exciting." Warlord Krathix received reports that large numbers of Valorians had disappeared from the shelters. His soldiers found the cut hatches and the sewage tunnels. He realized with growing rage that the humans had infiltrated through a route his troops never monitored. "Impossible," he roared. "No civilized species would move through such filth. What kind of creatures are these humans?" His tactical officer spoke carefully. "They are Deathworlders, Warlord. They evolved on a planet so harsh that things we consider impossible are normal to them. They breathe poison. They thrive in extreme conditions. And they clearly do not care about dignity or honor when lives are at stake." Krathix made another decision. If they want those civilians, they can have the dead ones. Kill everyone in the remaining shelters. Now. But when the Kragathi soldiers moved to execute the order, they found more surprises. The humans had planted mines around the shelter entrances. They had hacked the local power grid to shut down Kragathi equipment. They had positioned snipers in the ruins who picked off officers from a kilometer away. And when the Kragathi finally broke through to the shelters, they found them empty. All 8 million Valorians were gone, evacuated through tunnels and maintenance shafts and every other route the humans could find. Warlord Krathix stood in his command center, staring at reports of failure after failure. His fleet was being destroyed in orbit. His hostages were rescued. His ground troops were scattered and confused, fighting an enemy that refused to face them directly. "What are these humans?" he asked nobody in particular. Above him, Captain Minho prepared to answer that question in a way the Kragathi would never forget. The human fleet moved through the Valorian system like a pack of wolves. Captain Minho stood on his bridge and studied the tactical display. The Kragathi had 40 ships in orbit around Valora Prime. More were scattered throughout the system. The humans were outnumbered, but Minho had fought worse odds before. "Try to establish communication with the Valorians," he ordered Lieutenant Hana. "Let them know we're here to help." Hana worked at her console for several minutes. When she looked up, her face showed concern. "Sir, I'm getting a response, but it's strange. They're acknowledging our presence but not responding to direct questions. Their tone seems frightened." "Frightened of the Kragathi?" Minho asked. "No, sir," Hana said carefully. "I think they're frightened of us." Commander Nari stepped forward. She was Minho's second in command. A thoughtful woman who preferred diplomacy over violence when possible. Perhaps we should slow our approach. Give them time to understand we mean no harm. Before Minho could answer, alarms shrieked across the bridge again. A full Kragathi squadron was burning hard toward them. 12 heavy cruisers and twice that many smaller ships. Battle stations, Minho said calmly. Prepare for combat. And someone get me a line to that Kragathi commander. Time for a conversation. The Kragathi commander's face appeared on screen. He was massive with thick scales covering his reptilian features. His teeth were designed for tearing meat. His eyes showed only contempt. Unknown vessels, you are trespassing in Kragathi-claimed territory. The commander growled. Surrender now or be destroyed. We are generous to those who submit quickly. Minho leaned back in his chair. This is Captain Minho of the human vessel Indomitable. Valora Prime is not your territory. These people called for help and we answered. You have one chance to withdraw peacefully. The Kragathi commander laughed, a harsh sound that showed his fangs. Humans? We have never heard of your species. You must be primitives who just discovered space travel. Foolish primitives who do not know their place. We will teach you before we kill you. That's a no then, Minho said. He cut the transmission. All ships weapons free. Show them what primitives can do. The Kragathi ships came in formation, confident in their numbers and firepower. They had conquered 17 species using the same tactics. Overwhelming force, brutal bombardment. Accept surrender or destroy everything. But humans did not fight like the species the Kragathi conquered before. The human fleet split into 3 groups, each moving in different directions at speeds that seemed suicidal. The Kragathi struggled to track them, their targeting computers confused by the rapid maneuvers. Then the humans attacked from 3 sides at once. Human weapons were different from Galactic community standard. They used railguns that fired solid metal slugs at enormous speeds. They used missiles that could think and dodge point defense systems. They used lasers designed for mining that could cut through ship armor like butter. The Kragathi shields, powerful against energy weapons, did little to stop solid metal traveling at a significant fraction of light speed. Their heavy armor, designed to resist plasma cannons, crumpled under kinetic impacts. 3 Kragathi cruisers exploded in the first minute of combat. 5 more were crippled and drifting. The smaller ships tried to scatter, but human fighters pursued them like predators chasing wounded prey. Sir, the Kragathi flagship is trying to surrender, Hana reported, surprise in her voice. Tell them to power down weapons and prepare to be boarded, Minho ordered. He switched channels. Marine Sergeant Yuna, your team is up. In the Marine Bay, Sergeant Yuna checked her assault rifle one last time. She was a compact woman with muscles built from a lifetime of training in high gravity. Her face showed no emotion as she looked at her squad. Standard boarding action, she told them. These Kragathi are supposed to be tough. Let's find out if that's true. The Marines launched in small assault pods. The Kragathi flagship tried to shoot them down, but human point defense destroyed their weapons. The pods latched onto the hull and cut through with plasma torches. Yuna was first through the breach. She moved fast, her magnetic boots keeping her stable in zero gravity. The corridor ahead was empty for exactly 3 seconds. Then a massive Kragathi warrior appeared, roaring a battle challenge. He was 3 meters tall and armored with natural bone plates. He carried a weapon that could punch through light armor. By all logic, he should have been a terrifying opponent. Yuna shot him twice in the center mass and once in the head before he finished his roar. She stepped over his body without breaking stride. Keep moving. Secure the bridge. The Kragathi crew discovered something shocking. Humans could fight in boarding actions. More than that, they seemed to enjoy it. The Marines moved through the ship like they were born for this kind of combat. They used tactics that violated every galactic community convention about civilized warfare. They threw grenades in enclosed spaces. They vented atmosphere without warning. They attacked from above and below, ignoring the concept of honorable ground-level combat. When the Kragathi tried to use their size and strength advantage in close quarters, the humans simply shot them from a distance. When the Kragathi tried to fight at range, the humans closed in fast and used their smaller size to get under the aliens' guards. In 30 minutes, the Kragathi flagship was under human control. Yuna stood on the bridge with her rifle pointed at the Kragathi commander, who knelt in surrender. His bone plates cracked from bullet impacts. Your species fights without honor, the commander gasped, struggling to breathe in the atmosphere the humans found comfortable. We fight to win, Yuna replied. Honor is for people who can afford it. Now you're going to answer some questions about your deployments around Valora Prime. Down on the planet, the Valorians watched everything through their sensors. Ambassador Thelix stood frozen, his crystalline body flickering through colors faster than he could control them. The humans defeated a full Kragathi squadron in less than an hour. They captured the flagship in a boarding action. They did it all without taking significant casualties. The Valorians suddenly understood why Earth was quarantined. They fight like demons, one council member said, his voice shaking. They move in ways that should kill them from the acceleration. They breathe atmosphere that would burn our lungs. They board ships in the middle of battle like it's a casual exercise. And they came to help us, Thelix said quietly. We called for rescue and Deathworlders answered. I do not know if I should celebrate or weep. Captain Minho finally managed to establish proper communication with the Valorian Council. His face appeared on their screens and several Valorians instinctively stepped back. He looked dangerous even when trying to appear friendly. Ambassador Thelix, Minho said. I'm Captain Minho of the human fleet. We received your distress call. We're here to help remove the Kragathi from your world. We are grateful, Thelix said carefully, trying to keep his colors calm. But we must ask, what payment do you require? What do you want from us? Minho looked confused. Payment? You asked for help. We don't charge people for answering distress calls. That's not how humans work. But your fleet must have traveled far, Thelix pressed. Your warriors risk their lives. Surely you want something. Yeah, Minho said. We want you to survive. Once the Kragathi are gone, maybe we can talk about formal diplomatic relations. But right now, just stay in your shelters and let us work. This is going to get loud. The transmission ended. The Valorian Council stood in silence, trying to understand a species that would fight for strangers without demanding immediate reward. Perhaps, one council member said slowly, the humans are not demons. Perhaps they are something stranger. Perhaps they are heroes. Above them, the human fleet prepared for the main assault on Kragathi positions. In orbit, 40 Kragathi warships waited, confident in their numbers. They had no idea what was coming for them. Captain Minho smiled as he gave the order. All ships advance. Time to clear the sky. The crystal towers of Valora Prime burned under the red sky. Ambassador Thelix watched from the council chamber as another explosion rocked the eastern district. His transparent body flickered with colors of fear and desperation. The Kragathi had been bombing their world for 3 weeks now, and the Valorian defenses were almost gone. We have no choice left, Thelix said to the council members gathered around him. Their crystalline forms showed colors of agreement mixed with terror. We must activate the beacon. The ancient emergency beacon sat in a protected vault beneath the council building. It was a gift from the galactic community hundreds of years ago, meant to call for help in the worst situations. The Valorians never thought they would need it. They were a peaceful species who believed in diplomacy and trade. War was something they read about in historical records, not something they experienced. But the Kragathi Empire did not care about peace. These massive reptilian warriors conquered worlds for sport and resources. Their ships filled the orbit above Valora Prime like a dark cloud. Their ground troops marched through Valorian cities, destroying everything beautiful and taking everything valuable. Thelix descended into the vault with 2 guards. The beacon looked simple, just a small device with a single activation button. Instructions in multiple languages explained its purpose. Press once for help. Help would come from the nearest spacefaring civilization. His hand hesitated over the button. What if no one answered? What if help came too late? But then another explosion shook the building and he heard screams from above. Thelix pressed the button. The beacon sent its signal racing through space faster than light. It carried a simple message in the universal distress code. A peaceful species needed help. Raiders were destroying their world. Please come. 3 days passed. The Kragathi continued their assault. The Valorian population hid in underground shelters, their food supplies running low. Thelix began to lose hope. Perhaps the beacon was too old. Perhaps no one was close enough to help. Then the answer came. Captain Minho stood on the bridge of the colony ship Indomitable when the distress signal reached them. He was a tall man with gray hair and hard eyes that had seen too many battles. His ship was returning from establishing a new human colony in a distant system. The crew was tired and ready to go home. Captain, we're receiving an emergency beacon, said Lieutenant Hana from her station. She was young but experienced, with scars on her hands from a pirate attack years ago. It's using old galactic community protocols. Minho studied the message on his screen. A species called the Valorians was under attack. Their world was being destroyed. They needed help immediately. How far away are they? Minho asked. 4 days at maximum speed, replied Chief Engineer Taeyang. He was a genius with engines and weapons, always finding ways to make systems work better. We'd have to push the reactors hard. Minho thought for exactly 3 seconds. Send a response. Tell them help is coming. Then contact Fleet Command and tell them to send everything they can spare to these coordinates. Sir, should we wait for orders from Earth? Hana asked carefully. No, Minho said firmly. By the time we get authorization, those people might be dead. We're the closest help they have. We're going. The Indomitable changed course. Behind it, the human fleet began to assemble. Colony ships became carriers. Mining vessels prepared their industrial lasers for combat. Marine transports loaded with soldiers changed direction toward Valora Prime. Humanity had been in space for only 200 years, but they learned fast. Every ship carried weapons because space was dangerous. Every crew trained for combat because pirates and hostile aliens existed. Humans built their civilization expecting the worst and hoping for the best. On Valora Prime, the Valorians received the response message. The science team worked frantically to translate it. When they succeeded, their crystalline bodies flickered with confusion and new fear. It says help is coming from Earth, the lead scientist reported to Thelix. I searched our databases. Earth is classified as a Category 9 prohibited world. The galactic community banned all contact with it. Why? Thelix asked, though part of him feared the answer. The scientist displayed information on the main screen. Earth was a nightmare world. Gravity 12 times stronger than Valora Prime. Oceans filled with salt that would poison most species. An atmosphere with free oxygen that could cause fires. Weather patterns that included violent storms, temperature extremes, and natural disasters. But the worst part was the life. Earth was covered with predators. Animals that killed and ate other animals. Plants with toxins. Diseases that could wipe out entire populations. Even the humans themselves evolved as persistence hunters. Creatures that chased their prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They quarantined Earth because humans are Deathworlders, the scientist said quietly. Species from that planet are considered too dangerous for contact with civilized worlds. The council chamber fell silent. They called for rescue and Deathworlders answered. The Valorians did not know if they made a terrible mistake. 4 days later, the human fleet arrived at the edge of the Valorian system. Captain Minho counted 15 warships from Earth's defense forces, plus 30 support craft and the Indomitable itself. 4,000 Marines waited in the transport bays, ready for combat. Send a message to the Valorians, Minho ordered. Tell them the human fleet is here. Tell them to stay in their shelters until we secure orbit. Before Hana could send the message, alarms blared across the bridge. 6 Kragathi patrol ships were approaching fast, weapons charging. They're hailing us, Hana reported. The Kragathi commander wants to know who we are. Minho smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. Tell him we're humans from Earth. Tell him he has 10 seconds to surrender or withdraw. The Kragathi response was immediate. They opened fire with their plasma cannons, confident they could destroy these unknown ships quickly. It was the last mistake that Kragathi patrol would ever make. The human ships scattered in patterns that seemed random, but were carefully calculated. They moved with acceleration that would kill most organic species from the G-forces alone. Their weapons, designed to destroy asteroids and defend against pirates, tore through Kragathi shields like they were paper. In less than 5 minutes, all 6 Kragathi ships were either destroyed or crippled. The humans did not stop to celebrate. They pushed deeper into the system toward Valora Prime. On the planet's surface, Thelix watched the battle through their orbital sensors. His crystalline body flickered with amazement and terror. The humans fought like nothing the Valorians had ever seen. Fast, brutal, and utterly without mercy for their enemies. What have we called down upon our world? Another council member whispered. Thelix did not answer. He did not know if they were saved or if they simply traded one nightmare for another. The only certainty was that the humans were coming, and nothing would stop them.